To this now, 5 children aged between a year and 19 years have died when the Shaka caught fire in Shakas Head in Stanger, KwaZulu-Natal. Amongst the deceased are 1-year-old twins. Their mother and 2-year-old child have been rushed to hospital, while the father sustained minor injuries. The KZN Department of Human Settlements says the father will receive counseling. The bodies of the 5 children have been taken to forensics for investigation. Now, for the latest on the story, let's cross now live to Phila Mthembu. Phila, what can you tell us about the developments regarding the story?
All right, Nompu, a very good afternoon to you. So we are about to find out what is the latest, because the COCTA MEC here in KZN has just visited the area where the incident happened. We are at Shakas Head. I'm just going to quickly bring in the MEC to the conversation. Tulasizwe Buthelezi, MEC, we appreciate your time. Obviously, we are all gathered here under devastating circumstances where 5 lives had been lost. From the engagement that you have had with people from this area, you were in conversation with them just a few minutes ago. What is the latest? What can you tell us about the incident as well as the interventions from your department?
Well, we are utterly devastated at the loss of 5 young lives, as young as 1-year-old up to the age of 19. And we are here in Ward 4 under KwaDukuza municipality. We are with the mayor, Councillor Kumete, and the local councillor and all the leadership for us just to come and see what really happened. Because it seems in the early hours of yesterday morning, in this informal settlement, a fire took place where 5 children lost their lives, all belonging to one family. It's really, really devastating, because in this area is an informal settlement where people invaded the land and built houses for themselves, while the municipality was still planning a proper settlement. Where we are standing, this land was originally identified for a high school and a clinic, but due to people wanting economic opportunities in Palito, they then settled on this land without proper services. Even the electricity here is illegally connected. And while we will wait for the police to give us the cause of the fire, it is a problem, the living conditions of these people.
Yeah, and MEC, you know, when you look at how the people ended up residing here, you are saying that this land was in fact allocated for something else, but then some of them would actually say they are desperate due to insufficient spaces for them to get proper housing. How do you respond to that? Because you are here as COCTA, this is the situation, you are dealing with it. We're also going to hear from the Department of Human Settlements as well, but from COCTA, how do you respond?
Well, as COCTA, we are here to coordinate all the support. We will be getting in touch with Human Settlements and all other departments. Social Development is here accompanying me, Department of Health. But what is important now is that we must save lives so that an incident like this does not happen. I have then commissioned the Provincial Disaster Management Center, who will be installing smoke detector alarms, which we have successfully installed in eThekwini, so that in each and every home here, there is a smoke detector alarm, which just when they smoke, will be able to alert even the neighbors, so that help comes much more quicker than it did. This is one of the response mechanisms that we are doing for the time being, while the longer-term solution will be proper human settlements for our people who are here. We have decided as the provincial government, because the family comes from Port St. John's in Eastern Cape, that we will cover all the funeral expenses, including the traveling of the bodies to Eastern Cape, because after a tragedy such as this, we must be able to bury our loved ones with the dignity they deserve, but also this is a time of Ubuntu, because the family coming from as far as Eastern Cape 5 children lost their lives. The mother was able to escape, and the father, and a very young baby. It's a very traumatic experience for them. And our focus now is to offer the support and to offer the solidarity that we can as government.
Do we know the condition currently of those who were able to escape? You've just also mentioned that there's a baby that is involved as well.
Well, we hope that they will recover because they are in hospital. They were also in the house when the incident happened. The mother was able to retrieve the baby, but unfortunately the 5 children lost their lives in the fire. Therefore, we as the provincial government, led by the Premier, Mr. Ntuli, will ensure that they get a dignified funeral, but more importantly, that the people who are left in this informal settlement do get mechanisms such as the smoke detector alarm, and to see what we can do. They don't even have water. So we must come up with mechanisms and measures to ensure that they have a better living condition.
And I suppose as well, since you touched on the issue of illegal electricity connections, there's also no water in this area. You did mention, MEC, that people living here are not even supposed to be here from the first place. But now this is the reality of the situation. Have you somehow managed to speak to the eThekwini municipality as well, as far as these illegal electricity connections are concerned?
Well, we are here with the mayor of KwaDuguza because this area falls under KwaDuguza, and they do have plans for a permanent housing solution for the families that are living here currently. And together with the municipality, the provincial government will then ensure that there is a long-term sustainable plan to settle these families. But for now, together with the mayor and all the other government departments, our focus is to support the family and also the affected neighbors so that they get back to normality and get access to basic services.
MEC, that's where we're going to leave it. Nombo, I'm just going to ask for us to get right of way. My colleague and I, we're going to try and just move closer to where the incident actually happened. It's quite a distance from us, but of course, points of correction there. We have moved from Durban. We are in KwaDuguza. The area is, of course, under the KwaDuguza municipality. From what we had received from the MEC, really painting a picture of the devastating impact that had been suffered over here, saying that there is a mother, there's also a father and a little baby that survived the flame, but of course 5 lives were actually lost. So I just want to show you where we are. The scene is still quite cordoned off, and this is the exact same structure where, that blaze actually came from. The exact cause of the structure, we do not know as yet. It is still currently under investigation. We are going to show you how it looks like inside, and really some of the items that are in here. There really isn't much, though, because it is also extremely dark, but it really paints a picture from what we are seeing. There are also some bottles of alcohol on the ground as well. There's also a snooker table over here. It really kind of paints a picture as if this is where some people were actually indulging and having a great time, and probably also consuming alcohol when all of this was happening. And in fact, from the information that we did receive is that something of that sort was happening, but then the father from this particular home did chase away those people because they wanted to sleep, in the early hours of the morning when people were having a great time here. And after that, just a couple of minutes thereafter, then there was a flame that actually, started here. The exact cause is still unknown. They were, the parents now, in separate rooms compared to the children. Now, it is the children that did not manage to escape because they were all locked in just one room. If we could also just move forward, we'll stay stay on those visuals, there's also some community members that have also come out of here who are in disbelief of what had happened. Now, when you also look at such incidents as well, they've been quite a rich history when it comes to such incidents in not just this particular informal settlement area, but in also other informal settlements. So something like this is something that is not new to ever happen. So there have been quite a number of calls in terms of interventions that are required. There have been concerns around how people who are actually caught in such incidents, end up having moved in such places. In an illegal way. They are not even supposed to be here. We did also hear from the MEC saying that this particular place was reserved for a school. So this is the land that was reserved for a school. Somehow people managed to build their informal structures here, and they have been living here for quite some time. It is an area that also does not have water. Now, it speaks on concerns when something like this happens. How are they even able to put out the blaze? Let us also establish the kind of an area that this is. When you look at these informal structures, they are right next to each other. So it is quite easy for the flame to actually continue moving from one structure to another, and you can even tell that it would really be difficult to ensure that that particular flame is concerned. We do know that those who have been affected, there's psychosocial support which has been brought about, that they now have access to. Some of them were injured from that incident, and they are currently recovering in hospital as well. But of course, emotions had been also running high here. We are also going to try and speak to the father a little bit later on. He's still currently speaking to the MEC, really getting a sense of how he is doing currently and how they are trying to cope through all of this. They haven't been able to salvage much, so there's also going to be some intervention as far as the food, should they need food, because everything was just burnt here. Clothes were also burnt here, so they don't have much remaining. It's quite an emotional community that we are seeing at this point, and it would be really interesting to see what the MEC had said in terms of supporting the family and moving them back to their home province for a final send-off. It would be, quite heartwarming to at least see that particular gesture, being brought to life as well. Seeing it happening, because it is a family that will now have to put together their heads and see how they even prepare to lay their loved ones to rest. It is a family that is, of course, having financial challenges as well, but hopefully what the department is going to be doing in terms of taking care of that particular service, the funeral service, and also just getting their remains back home to the Eastern Cape, they will be able then to find some sort of a relief with that particular investigation. But the MEC is still quite around here, still also engaging some of the neighbors, because now it also brings into question the conversation now in terms of those who remain behind here. There is some serious dialogue that needs to be held with them, because one, they are in a place that they're not supposed to be in, and two, what if something like this even happens in the future? We cannot rule out any possibility of something like this happening in the future, because we've seen it happen before. It had happened yesterday, and this is an area that does not also have water. So it is a community that is struggling. They would have to go to nearby rivers to try and access some water as well, just to continue to see how they get through on a daily basis under those circumstances. But also quite concerns around the hygienic conditions that these people are also living under. So all of that will need to be tackled. We'll also get to speak to the KwaZulu-Natal municipality in terms of the interventions in place. The MEC did say that there is going to be some sort of a plan in terms of getting some sirens that will go off whenever there is a flame here. But now what happens when residents do not have the water, if those flames go out, and then it takes quite some time for people to come and assist. Now these would be the municipal service people to come and put out the blaze. What can these residents do at that particular meantime while they are waiting to be rescued as well? And the issue of illegal electricity connections is quite of an interesting point to also tackle, because when you look at illegal electricity connections, that on its own poses a danger, because some flames actually start from illegal electricity connections. And even if it does not, there are also children around this area whose lives now are also at risk. But we'll wait to see really how things are going to be moving forward now that the authorities are also here. What solutions will they come up with and also implement to ensure that something like this does not happen again? We'll also try and speak to the KZN Human Settlements Department in terms of providing shelter for these people, because they have also been saying that they moved to these lands because they are desperate. They've got no other lands that they can use, to actually build their structures, and now they would have to resort to whatever piece of land that they find and build those structures up.
Phila, it's quite concerning that the MEC for Human Settlements mentioned mechanisms for safety and not the relocation of these families to safer areas. Has he said anything about that, given any indication of relocation?
Of course, it is quite concerning, but he did say they're going to be speaking to the KZN Human Settlements Department now, because now this is that particular department's work that needs to be done. So it is the KZN Human Settlements Department that needs to answer as far as proper houses are actually concerned when it comes to giving these houses out to those who had applied for them, to those who are in need. The MEC saying that what he can do is to really sit down and engage, this particular department, saying that at the end of the day, he needs to be a part of this, although it's a KZN Human Settlements Department thing, but he does need to be a part of this because time and time again, he continues seeing himself here. If we can just stick to those visuals, and I continue to converse with you, for some reason, he always see himself having to make these visits under such heartbreaking and devastating circumstances, because he is, of course, leading the KZN Carter portfolio. So he does. It's important for him to actually be a part of those discussions, because his department is also affected by people who get to build their informal structures in lands that they're not even supposed to be occupying, and also the issue of housing coming indeed back to the spotlight. But let us wait and see what the KZN Human Settlements Department is going to say about this. Well, in terms of providing proper houses for those who are in need and ensuring that the shelters that they are actually occupying are quite safe enough compared to what we are seeing here today.
Phila Mthembu out in KwaDukuza, where that tragic incident has happened where children have died in a fire.